It's winter in New England, and so you would think that all the fun driving has to stop, but not necessarily. There's an old saying in Scandinavia that there's no such thing as bad weather, just the wrong clothes. And for fun driving in the wintertime, all you need is a vehicle that can handle it. And I think we've got one today.
If you love classic cars, then Donald loves you.
TechArt is a German tuning company conveniently located in Leonberg, Germany, which is about 25 minutes from Zuffenhausen. Or if you're driving this car that I'm driving today, a TechArt 911 Turbo S, it's probably about 10 or 12 minutes. Because what more do you need in a Porsche Turbo S? I mean, this is a 2014 example. From the factory, the Turbo S came with 520 horsepower and 512 foot-pounds of torque. Certainly adequate numbers with the great Porsche all-wheel drive system. So performance you can use anytime you want to. Our friends at TechArt take it to a slightly different level. How about 620 horsepower and 650 foot-pounds of torque? That's certainly more than adequate. And of course, this 991 Turbo S was criticized for the fact that it only came with a Doppelkupplung transmission. So you get into this wonderful Porsche 911 Turbo and you find this gear shift lever, which would be at home in a Buick. But it does have some secrets up its sleeve. An advantage, of course, of having this dual clutch transmission, which is, while it has an automatic selector, is actually a manual gearbox with dual clutches. So it acts as an automatically shifting manual, is the fact that it has very different characters. Here, driving at a sedate pace, as sedate a pace you could drive in a car like this, you think that all is the way it might be. But with the judicious selection of a few controls, things change completely. First, I select the Sport Plus button. In automatic, I've now downshifted a gear. I'll select the manual selection, and the power is mine. It immediately responds. And this is a ride that's probably, for New England roads, a bit harsh. But you do have choices here. Again, I can turn off the adaptive shock absorbers, but then it wouldn't be quite as much fun, would it? What I won't do, of course, is turn off the traction control, because after all, this is a winter drive. So if I'm out for a beautiful drive like this and the blue skies turn into somewhat obscured skies with clouds and threatened snow, what then? I'm prepared. In fact, the manual settings in this gearbox would actually be quite adept at handling winter driving conditions. To be able to choose the gear in which you want to be in is much, much easier than driving a traditional automatic transmission, in fact. And it's also something about the usability of Porsches, even one with this kind of a specification, because the Porsche all-wheel drive system not only obviously gives you extra control in high-speed driving and performance driving, but also, frankly, in winter driving. And the fact that you can drive a Porsche 911 in winter, Porsche is arguably the first of the sports car makers to acknowledge the fact that they didn't want their owners to put the cars away when the weather turned cold. One of the glories of actually considering driving a Porsche during the winter is the fact that they were always designed to be all-weather cars. It's wonderful to see so many early 356 advertisements that show happy owners driving their 356s to the ski slopes with the ski racks mounted on the car, and the fact that, of course, having the weight balance that they had, they were great cars in the snow because you had the weight over the drive wheels. Where other cars would be left spinning and sliding off the roads, your 356 would carry you through. And even when the 911 was introduced, you still saw that same take it to the ski slope, have a great weekend advertising campaigns. And obviously, that was good because these cars were cars. But as anybody who's ever tried to restore a 356 knows, those cars can rust in places that you didn't think they had metal. So something had to be done to really make the Porsche the all-weather car that it deserved to be. In 1975, they made the then bold step of building every 911 with a galvanized steel body. So galvanized inside and out, the body in white, dipped completely for galvanization. And it made Porsche able to actually offer at first a 5-year warranty against rust perforation, which was then extended to 10 years. Another interesting thing which I learned recently is the fact that while considering ways to make the bodies more durable, they actually first considered making the bodies out of stainless steel, which I think is absolutely fascinating. But they thought that the added expense and trouble of making the structure in stainless steel was not worth the extra effort when galvanization would do the trick quite handily. And as a consequence, Porsches became, once again, a car you would use year-round. This is an engine in this setup that delivers power in a way that any driver of an early Porsche Turbo could never imagine. This immediate response. And what's even more astonishing about it is the fact that with all this power, thanks to the torque, it delivers maximum power at about 4,800 RPM, which is remarkably low for an engine of this performance capability. So that gives a theoretical, of course, top speed of over 200 miles per hour in top gear at 4,800. You've got so many choices. You can use the hand shift on the console in sort of a sequential way. You can use the paddles, and when you lift off, you get that great burble, which is absolutely fantastic, which you also get on the downshifts. It's very entertaining, not only visually, but aurally. Sings a song. And of course, as a singer, I love a car that sings along with me. Even throwing it into automatic in Sport Plus mode, the car hangs in gear until it reaches the maximum power in the rev zone. Now let's picture this road, the nice light dusting of snow on it. I'm out of Sport Plus and only into Sport mode. I'll even deselect Sport mode. At this same RPM level, I'm now up into 6th gear. The car has become a completely different animal. Select Sport, I'm down a gear. Sport Plus, I'm down 2. An instant response. The flexibility of this car is what makes it such a great all-year companion. Now, of course, the boots also count for a lot. The car normally wears summer tires. Obviously, for all year-round use, you'll want to put a good pair of winter tires on the car, but I have no doubt whatsoever that this car could handle anything that a New England winter could throw at it. It even has an adjustable ride height because TechArt has also lowered the ride height of the standard Porsche Turbo S. So you can select a higher ride height for greater confidence. Other modifications that TechArt does to this car include the interior. It's a totally different gauge cluster, custom sports seats, and outside you've got a new front spoiler, rear diffuser, a fixed rear wing, and some body sill kits that actually work when this car is at top speed. When a tuner is located only 20, give or take, minutes from the manufacturer of the car, it says a lot about their commitment to the manufacturer and what they want to get out of this car. And this TechArt delivers, no matter what the weather.